It was just after 9 at night when the call reached the Brazil crime unit. The operator's voice was steady, but Rafael sensed tension behind every word. A woman had reported screams echoing from somewhere inside the old cane fields near Fazenda Horizonte, a long-abandoned farm that sat on the outskirts of Nova Esperança, one of those small towns where gossip traveled faster than light. The farmlands were known for two things: the endless sea of sugar cane and the stories. People said that decades ago, workers had disappeared in the fields. Others whispered about fights, debts, grudges, and bodies buried under the cane. Most assumed it was just local folklore, but tonight, the screams were real. Detective Rafael Torres drove past the narrow dirt road leading toward the plantation, his headlights slicing through the mist that rolled slowly across the ground. The cane grew so tall it swallowed the road in shadow. Tonight, the field seemed alive, restless, as if shifting with each passing breeze. Izzy's voice crackled through the radio. Already at the entrance, security drone is scanning the perimeter. Marcon sounded more annoyed than anything. Why do these things always happen at night? Rafael parked beside them. Izzy lifted her tablet. A live aerial view appeared, showing long, disjointed rows of cane, and in the middle of them, a single structure, the farmhouse. No lights, no movement, just a dark, square shape lost in the fields. They approached slowly. The cane whispered against their legs. Each step felt heavier than the last. When they finally reached the house, Rafael pushed open the door. It groaned loudly. An old, tired sound. The interior was lit only by Izzy's flashlight. Dust hung in the air like drifting snow. Furniture covered in sheets. Cracks along the walls. The faint, almost sour smell of humidity. But what caught Rafael's attention was the trail. A smear, faint but unmistakable, led across the floor. Not blood, at least not fresh, but something had been dragged. Izzy crouched, touching the faint mark with gloved fingers. Brownish red. Old blood, mixed with dirt. Marcon frowned. Could be animal. Izzy shook her head slowly. This is human. They followed the trail deeper into the house, past the living room and into a back hallway lined with faded family portraits. The eyes in the paintings seemed to watch them as they moved. What's that sound? Marcon whispered. Rafael heard it too. A faint tapping, irregular, like someone knocking very lightly from inside a wall. Tap, pause, tap, tap, tap. They moved closer. The sound was coming from the last door at the end of the hallway. Rafael opened it. Inside was a dusty storage room. Shelves collapsed, boxes scattered everywhere. Izzy scanned the walls. Hold on! Look! In the corner behind a stack of rotting wood was a trap door, partially uncovered, as if someone had climbed out or tried to force it open. Fresh scratches marked the floor. Izzy pointed the flashlight at the trapdoor's handle. There were fingernail marks dug into the wood. Someone had tried desperately to climb out. Rafael took a deep breath. Open it! Marcon knelt and lifted the door. A cold wave of air escaped, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of damp earth and something else. Something metallic. Blood. They descended carefully. The cellar was larger than they expected. Stone walls, dirt floor, and at the center a series of old wooden support beams forming makeshift stalls. One of them had chains attached. Empty chains. Izzy swallowed hard. Someone was kept here. Rafael lifted his flashlight. Over here. In the farthest stall, lying on the ground, was a man, barely conscious, barely moving. His wrists were worn raw, his clothes torn, and his breathing shallow. Izzy rushed to him. He's alive. Pulse is weak. This happened recently. Marcon knelt beside them. Who the hell would do this? Rafael looked around, scanning the cellar. Then he noticed something carved into the wooden beam beside the victim. One single word, Ajuda. Help! Rafael stood and radioed for emergency support. They carried the man outside and placed him carefully in the back of the ambulance. He tried to speak, but only one word came out clearly. Doctor. The ambulance door closed. Izzy turned to Rafael. He said doctor. You think he's asking for one? Rafael shook his head. No, I think he's telling us who did this. The next morning they returned to town. The victim was identified as Leandro Pires, 38, a local farm worker who had gone missing 10 days earlier. He had a wife, a daughter, and no apparent enemies. But Leandro's wife, Ana, said something that immediately caught Rafael's attention. He used to work here, she said, handing them a faded medical receipt. For Dr. Rocha. Everyone knows him. The name was familiar. Dr. Henrique Rocha, respected town physician. Clean record, well-liked. No complaints. His clinic sat right in the town square. With a garden full of medicinal plants he grew himself. Raphael didn't like the coincidence. They visited the clinic. Dr. Rocha greeted them with a calm smile. "Detectives, how can I help?" Raphael studied him. White coat clean, hands steady, eyes calm. Too calm. "Do you know a man named Leandro Perez?" Raphael asked. The doctor nodded slowly. "Yes, I treated him once for dehydration, months ago." "Did he work for you?" Izzy pressed no. "Did you have any conflict with him?" Dr. Rocha laughed softly. "Of course not. I treat everyone the same." But something didn't sit right. His calmness felt practiced. When they left the clinic, Marco exhaled heavily. "I don't buy it," Izzy agreed. "He didn't even ask what happened to Leandro. Not once." Raphael stared at the garden in front of the clinic. Dozens of rare plants, carefully arranged. Too carefully. "Let's dig deeper." That night, they pulled Dr. Rocha's records, a long list of prescriptions, purchases, supplies. Izzy stopped on one specific item. "Look at this. Sedatives. High dose, purchased every 2 weeks." Marcone frowned. "He runs a small clinic. Why would he need that much?" More digging revealed that several of his patients had eerily similar notes. Follow-up unnecessary. Symptoms resolved. Patient relocated. Raphael's stomach tightened. "How many patients has he declared relocated without documentation?" Izzy scrolled. 12. 12 missing people. All in the last 4 years. Raphael stood. "We're going back to the farm." They arrived late at night. The cane field stood tall and silent, the farmhouse looming like an abandoned skeleton. Inside the cellar, Raphael searched the walls carefully. There, faint but readable, more carvings. Rocha. "Clinica. Sedado." Sedated. Izzy turned pale. This wasn't the first victim kept here. Raphael checked the floor again. Footprints. Fresh ones. Someone had been here recently besides them. Then they heard it. Footsteps upstairs. Slow, measured, confident. Raphael signaled the team to be silent. The footsteps moved closer to the cellar, closer. The door creaked. A shadow appeared at the top of the stairs. And then he spoke. "You shouldn't be here. Dr. Rocha." Raphael stepped forward. "Hands where I can see them." The doctor smiled faintly as if amused. "You think you understand?" he said calmly. "But you don't." Izzy's voice was controlled. "You tortured Leandro. You sedated him. You kept him here." Rocha tilted his head. "Torture? No. I was saving them." Marcone blinked in disbelief. "Saving?" The doctor stepped down one step, hands still visible. "People come to me broken, addicted, lost, violent. I treat them for weeks, months. And when their pain stops, I release them." Raphael's voice hardened. "Tied to a post? Sedated? Left to die?" The doctor inhaled slowly. "Not all can be saved. Some fight the process." Izzy's eyes widened. "You're insane." The doctor gave a small shrug. "They begged me to make the pain stop. I did what was necessary." Raphael took a step up the stairs. "Where are the others? The other 11? Rocha smiled. "Buried deep, where Cain grows strongest." Raphael tightened his grip. "You're done, doctor. It's over." Rocha raised his eyebrows. "Is it?" He reached into his coat. But Raphael was faster. He slammed him against the wall. Hand on his wrist, a syringe clattered down the stairs, full of sedative. Izzy cuffed him as he muttered, "You don't understand. Someone had to fix them. Someone had to be the cure." The next morning, forensic teams combed the cane fields. They found 3 burial sites, all shallow, all containing remains. Rocha finally broke and led them to the rest. In total, 9 bodies, each sedated, each placed carefully, each kept somewhere between life and death before being taken. A twisted attempt at treatment. Leandro was the only one who survived long enough to escape barely. That evening, as the team finished their reports, Izzy leaned against the unit's doorway. "You know, this country scares me sometimes." Marcone grunted softly. "Sometimes?" Izzy shook her head. "A doctor, a healer, one of the most trusted people in town." Raphael closed the file and looked out the window. The sky was fading into a deep orange, the cane fields visible in the distance, like a dark, endless ocean. "In Brazil," he said quietly, "monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they wear white coats." Izzy exhaled. "Do you think cases like this ever truly end?" Raphael watched the last light disappear behind the horizon. "No," he said softly. "No case ever ends completely. The truth just waits underground until someone listens." He closed the blinds. Another case finished. Another horror unearthed. And somewhere in the vast silence of Brazil, another crime waited for the night to fall.